These geodesic domes were built back in the 70s. Kind of an interesting build. This roof actually had 3 different layers. It had an original roof, it had drip edge, and then somebody had put in metal fascia. There was termite damage inside of all of the fascia boards. We had to pull the metal off there and replace a lot of this fascia. When this is all done, it's going to be a 2-tone gray and this off-white color up on top. We right now are at the Yuma Venture Clubhouse. This is a retirement community in Yuma. These geodesic domes were built back in the 70s, and they are kind of an interesting build. They're put together in a unique way that was challenging to work through. We uncovered a whole lot of unknowns when we pulled the roof off. There was termite damage inside of all of the fascia boards. We had to pull the metal off there and replace a lot of this fascia. We redid the shingle roof up on top and resurfaced all the stucco around the whole geodesic domes. There's 3 of these domes that goes back, and we ripped the modified bitumen roof off, the rolled roofing, and we are replacing that with foam. So this will be fun. We also replaced a lot of the sliding glass doors and raised the thresholds a little bit because water was moving back into those doors. And we took all of the HVAC, all of the air conditioning runs off the roof. We moved some of the ports where they go back and fall back into the building. And we're replacing, we had to customize some of the pans that for our drain pans. This is an interesting roof because it's not really designed for the water to roll off. It actually, we have to grade the foam back into these drains and move some of the drains so that we could get our geometries for our grading correct. Also, we're building mansard facades around these edges, and those are gonna act as the railings for these patios. Those mansards are gonna be roofed in shingle that'll match the top, which you can't really see from this angle, but lots going on here. So one of the things we had to deal with was this roof actually had 3 different layers on it. It had an original roof, it had drip edge that went with that, and then somebody had changed their mind there and had put in this metal fascia, and then they put in another roof system. And every single one of these had different layers, and so the water was actually moving backwards in a lot of situations. There's no slope on these flat roofs whatsoever. So we're basically moving the water into the internal drains, and the roof itself is only a 2x8. It's not even a 12-inch depth, and so we've had to do some creative stuff to get around that to get this water to flow out. So we're changing some of the drain pipes. We're customizing pans, drain pans that are really shallow and that have side exits, so we can move it out through the roof and down these exit pipes down here. We're working with a lot of 90-degree angles, so I'm trying to soften some of those degrees a little bit so that water will flow and we don't have as much of a chance for things to get backed up. Also, some weird things that we discovered was the old drains. This is actually a pipe jack. This is an upside down pipe jack, and it's made to go on top of a roof the other direction, but they just basically put these in upside down and used them as drains. So we're pulling these out and moving these drains to be more in line with each other. This is one of the drains that we're moving. Here's another upside down pipe jack right here. So one of the new drains that we're creating that's going to mimic what that one's doing, we're putting this and we're moving this just a little bit over here. So it actually sits in alignment with this one. That helps us create our diamond shapes for the foam and move the water this way. So we're basically creating a cricket system that will force the water into these 2 drains and not actually off the roof, which is a little bit unusual. All right, so right here what we're looking at is these are actually anchors that we're building a mansard facade on. It'll be shingled on the front, have a flat back, and these are actually getting foamed in. So you'll see that on the other side of the building, what we've already been doing. So here's an example of how we foamed in these anchors. These will then be shaved down to the wood. They'll be sealed on top so that there's no give with the weight of the mansard, and that'll be built after we're done here. One of the challenges we had was these doors were very, very low, and so we didn't have much grade to take from the door, actually no grade at all, from the door off to the edge. So what we did was we built a diamond shaped cricket right here, and so water comes off of this, goes into this little gully right here down to the drains, and then from this side it shoots underneath the mansard between these anchors off the roof that way. One of the original reasons why we were brought in was on these geodesic, or these geometries, so you can see the angles of the dome come together. They were cracked really bad when we got called. So one of the problems was up along the drip edge on the upper roof, the water was getting in behind the stucco. The drip edge, the stucco was added later. So these structures were kind of built on over the years, and everybody sort of had their own ideas about things. And so the stucco was sticking out about a ½ inch beyond where the drip edge went on the upper roof. So water was creeping in back there, and it had completely destroyed all of these seams where the domes come together in the geometries. So we opened those up and took away the solid metal. So stucco actually moves as it expands and contracts with the weather. It moves a little bit, and that movement between where the lathing is on the filled side and on those seams, they have a solid metal sort of a flashing piece that comes down and meets. So we took that solid metal flashing out because that expands and contracts at a different rate than the lathing does, and that causes the stucco to crack over time. So we cut all that out, and we used a flexible material that will expand and contract at the same rate as the lathing, and then we closed it all back in. And it was very difficult. We thought we could just repair that all at once, and we couldn't get it to match correctly, so we ended up just resurfacing all of the domes basically. We also changed the color, went to a two-tone. This used to be this strange reddish peach salmon color. It was kind of awkward. So when this is all done, it's all gonna match, and it's gonna be a two-tone gray and this off-white color up on top. Where's that at? That's the only place that it's at? All right, I'll call you back, hold on. All right. We might have to go to San Diego. Wanna go? We gotta pick up a bender. Let's go tell these guys what we gotta do.